Hey guys, I am Dani and welcome back to Summer Skye Gardens. For those of you that don't know, I live in South Texas, right north of Houston, and have a flower farm that's in Splendora, Texas. I'm here today and it's starting to warm up. It's the springtime and I wanted to talk to you guys about one of my favorite flowers, zinnias. I love zinnias for so many reasons. They're incredibly easy to grow, whether you want to just plant the seeds outdoors or start them inside. They love the heat, so they're one of the few flowers that can really do well in our super hot Texas summers. They put on tons and tons of blooms. The pollinators love them, and they make excellent cut flowers. Now, if you're new to zinnias and you want to learn how to grow them, I will link below a video I did giving you tons of tips on how to just grow zinnias in general. But today I really wanted to talk about what are the best varieties to grow for cut flowers to make you money. I'm going to talk about a lot of different varieties. I'm going to tell you where you can get the seed for these varieties. So we're going to go through tons of awesome choices for cut flowers that will do well for you, whether you're selling market bouquets, you're selling direct retail to customers, or you're selling wholesale to florists. And then I'm also going to tell you some varieties that are not going to be good choices if you're wanting to grow cut flowers for sale. As always, if you like this video, give it a big thumbs up. And if you have a question, just comment below. So just a few quick notes on selling zinnias. Of course, this is going to vary depending on where you live, who you're selling to, and what these flowers are going to be used for. Now, the biggest variation that you're going to see in zinnias are, of course, the color, and then secondly, the shape. And then lastly, you'll see some that grow only to a certain height. Now, typically the zinnias that grow super tall are the ones that you want to use for cut flowers. These plants are going to get about 3 to 4 feet tall, so you're able to get nice long stems when you cut the flowers. If you see anything that's saying it's only going to grow to about 12 inches or less, these are really made for borders and landscaping and just general color in your yard, in your garden. So those are excellent choices to grow if you're not cutting them and you just want to add some color and some interest or put out flowers for pollinators, but those are not going to be good choices as cut flowers. Now, one note on color and shape. So as far as color goes, you're going to see that zinnias come in a whole host of colors, pretty much any color that you can think of that a flower can bloom in, except for like a really true purple or blue. You're going to see every other color. You're going to see tons of variations in ombre effects. You're going to see some that have speckles, maybe stripes. And you have to think about when you're choosing the different varieties, who is your target customer? So if you're selling directly retail, so let's say you're doing market bouquets for a farmer's market, you're selling to grocery, you're selling to a CSA, you have a U-pick at your flower farm. Most of the time, those customers are going to gravitate towards bright, bold, cheery colors. So those are going to be like your bright oranges, yellows, hot pinks, purples, things that really, stand out, whether it's in a bouquet or it's out in the field. Now, one caveat to that is you may have some that gravitate towards some of the funky colors, funky shapes, funky designs, and it may just be because they have an appreciation for flowers and they've never seen them before. So I don't think it hurts to experiment with some of those varieties when you're selling retail, but I think the majority of the flowers that you grow should really be geared towards just those solid, bright, beautiful colors. Now, on the other hand, if you're selling wholesale, if you're doing event work, if you're selling to florists, especially florists that do event work, they're probably going to want more of the muted, pastel, softer tones. So things, like whiter cream, pastel pink, peach colors, maybe like a light orange, a soft buttery yellow, a light violet. Those can be a little harder to come by as far as individual varieties go, but they're definitely out there, and I will give you some tips on how to find these. So the first ones that I wanted to bring up, and I will show you some pictures here. A lot of these pictures are from my growing. There are a few that I did not grow that are from the websites, and I will try to label them for you. But The first ones that I wanted to talk about are the ones that you should not grow. So the first one is called the Profusion series. And when I mentioned earlier about landscaping and bedding plants, the Profusion series is a great choice. It only gets to about like 10 or 11 inches, so it makes a wonderful border plant. If you go to your like local nursery, especially like a Home Depot or a Lowe's, you're gonna see Profusion zinnias sold as bedding plants. So while these make excellent choices for your yard or your landscape, they are not good for cut flowers because they are so short. Now, another note on a couple of varieties that have really tiny blooms, your candy mix, your thumbelinas, scabiosas. In my experience and in others, we have found that those can actually give you pretty small blooms. So in my opinion, it's not worth growing those unless you have a very specific customer that wants lots of tiny blooms, like maybe it's for a florist, but I just think you're going to get more bang for your buck growing bigger headed varieties. So I would stay away from those. In general, a lot of the mixes, especially if it just says like zinnia mix or generic, mixes that you're going to find from like Burpee or the Dollar Tree or Walmart, a lot of times, those aren't terrible, but it's going to be a mix of colors, and a lot of the flowers are going to be single petaled. So while they're pretty and the pollinators just absolutely love them, they make really crappy cut flowers. So I would not bank on like a generic zinnia mix. If you want to get a mix, make sure you aim for a particular variety mix. Another couple of ones that I have not had good luck with are the State Fair mix, just because you get a lot of singles. Zenderella, you'll see pictures of some zinnia flowers that look like tufted, almost like cupcakey in the middle. I think they're beautiful. I have not met a single person that has had really great success growing those. Most of the time when you grow these type of zinnias, they're putting out just really bland single petaled varieties. You're not getting enough of that tufted center to really make it worth your while. Another one that I've grown that wasn't terrible, but I just feel like there's better choices out there, are the Burpeeana giants. They're similar to the cactus flowered, which I love, but I just felt like the colors, they didn't come out as really striking as the cactus. They're not as big. They were a little more flatter looking, so they're not a bad choice. If you have some, you want to try them, but the other ones that I'm going to mention here in a minute, I think are just overall much better choices. All right, so let's talk about where to get your seeds and what are the varieties you're going to want to choose. The first one, of course, I had to mention is Floret. Now, this year, Floret launched their own new breeding varieties. They are gorgeous. They're being sold to the public. They're mostly muted, softer colors. They're supposed to be very big and very profuse. They are very expensive. So I think it can be a worthwhile investment if you are selling to a florist, or you're doing event work, or you just want to grow them for yourself as cut flowers for yourself or to give to neighbors. I think the jury is still out on whether or not you're going to make your money back for those seeds, but they are gorgeous. I think there's a ton of potential. So I know I bought a handful of varieties that I'm going to try out growing this year. I'm going to gauge the interest of local florists and see if I can command a higher dollar amount, just because they are so unique and you're not going to be able to find them anywhere else unless you're growing the seeds yourself. So they still have a lot available if you want to go on their website and take a look. I love all the seeds that I've ever gotten from them before. I love what they stand for, and I love to support a fellow flower farmer. So maybe go take a look and see if you want to try some yourself. Okay, a next great place to get seed is GeoSeed. And if you are in the farming world or looking into the farming world, you've probably heard a lot about GeoSeed. They sell wholesale seeds. They have a tremendous variety of just flowers in general. Now, they don't have a website where you can look at all the varieties. So if you see in their catalog something you're interested in, you're going to have to go Google, a picture of it and find it on another website. But for the most part, they have really great choices. They have really great prices for seeds. So the ones that I am getting from Geo this year are the cactus flowered mix. I love the cactuses, and I'll put some pictures and video up here. They have these like ruffly looking petals. They can be bright colored, more muted colored. I found that the florists loved them, thought they were super cool. My local customers thought they were super cool just because they've never seen a zinnia or a flower with those really like ruffly petals. They almost, I don't know, they didn't look like a zinnia, and the heads actually got pretty big. So these are one of my favorite varieties to grow. And at Geo, you can get like a mix of colors, which I really like, and I chose those. I'm going to put them out in my U-pick field because I think people will just love the different colors of those. If you want individual varieties of some cactus, you can go to Baker Creek Heirloom Seeds. They are a great American company that sells seeds. They sell very unusual varieties. I did find a few individual colors on their website that I've not been able to find anywhere else. But a general cactus mix, definitely go through Geo Seed. Another one that I really like, which you could find at Geo or Baker Creek, are the Macarania. So these I really like to grow toward the end of the summer and into the fall because they have like that reddish orange ombre color. Gorgeous, gorgeous for fall. I find people just love them. They almost like look, I don't know, like neon colored. They're so vibrant. So I think that they're a beautiful choice for, later in the year, time of year. I'm going to put some in my U-pick field as well as grow some for production. Now, of course, have to mention Benary giant zinnias. So these are going to be the classic ones you see with the really big, ruffly heads, solid, vibrant, or some pastel colors. And you can get a mix of the Benaries from Geo, or you can go to Johnny Select Seeds and find individual colors. So I know for myself, I'm doing both. I'm going to do Benary's mix for the U-pick field, just so it's lots of fun colors, but I'm also growing some individual varieties from Johnny Select Seeds, such as like the pink or the dark, magenta, the coral color. I'm trying to go with some more softer pastel colors, of course, for the florist, and then some darker colors. Another thing to think about when you're growing zinnias is just the general course of the year. Early in the season, like spring, early summer, maybe go for some of the more pastel, softer, prettier colors. And then later in the summer or full on summer, you're going for like those vibrant, juicy, great pops of color. And then as you get into the fall, you're thinking more like reds, oranges, yellows, more of like fallish colors to finish out the year. Now, another super popular type of zinnias to grow are the Queenie series. So at Geo, you can get a Queenie mix, which will give you a variety of all the colors. I'm growing that in my U-pick field. I did that last year and found that people just love them because most of them will grow pretty tufted and will give you that ombre effect, which is just very unusual, and you're not going to see it in a lot of other varieties. So if you want to get a Queenie mix, get it through Geo. They also have a couple of individual varieties, the Queen Lime Orange, the Queen Lemon Peach, which I ordered from them because they were the cheapest price. You can also get some of the other colors, the Queen Lime Red, the Queen Lime Blush, or just like the basic Queenie Lime through Johnny Select Seeds. But these are beautiful. The heads are a little smaller. They can be a focal flower to a degree. I found that most of the time they made wonderful accent flowers to kind of, I guess, combine other colors of flowers. And I found that the florists really loved them because of how soft and beautiful that they were. Now, the next place that I want to talk about getting your seeds from is Johnny Select Seeds. I've already mentioned a few that you can get through them. So the Benary's giant individual colors, the Queen individual colors. I also like the Oklahoma series. So they're gonna kind of be like the Bennery's Giant, but they're a little bit smaller and they're usually more tufted, but you have a lot of really beautiful colors in there. And I think there's actually a few colors you can get through the Oklahoma series that you're not going to be able to get through the Bennery's Giant series. So just based on your needs and the colors you want to grow, I would look between both of those, but Johnny Select Seeds is going to be where you're going to want to look for those. And then another variety that I really like from Johnny's is Zowie. It's very similar to the Macarena, where it has this ombre effect of like the red, orangey, yellow colors. So once again, a great choice for the end of summer and going into fall. I know tons of people that have grown these and they really, really like them. And then lastly, just to mention again for Baker Creek heirloom seeds. So this is where I said you could get a few of the cactus individual varieties, as well as I've grown the Canary, which is just like solid yellow. I think that's a wonderful choice for the summer. If you want like a bright punchy yellow, I would put them with sunflowers. I put them with, you know, other colored zinnias, all kinds of colors that I had over the summer. So, and I did find that they were great to grow. I got tons of, you know, doubles and tufted flowers. So I think this is a really good variety if you want just basic yellow. But look at Baker Creek. They have some really crazy looking zinnias. I wouldn't say that a ton of them are probably going to be super popular with your general customers, but I think they're fun to try out and just see, you know, maybe grow, you know, 20 plants and see if you like how that they come out. That's the only way that you're going to figure out, well, what do I like to grow? What grows well in my climate? What are my customers? Who am I normally selling to? What are they looking for? You know, if they're coming to your farm, they may really think it's cool that you have all these different varieties. So maybe they're great for like a U-pick field or for, you know, picture taking. But, you know, you never know if like your event florists or other people are gonna like them. But, you know, flower growing should be fun. It's fun to try out new varieties. So if any of these piqued your fancy, I can't say enough good things about zinnias, especially if you live in a hot climate like I do. They love the heat. They do really, really wonderful. If I could give you one tip though for growing this year, especially into the summer, succession plant. I find that as it really heats up, and for us last year, we had an unbearably long, hot, dry summer. They have about a month of producing really top-notch blooms, and then they start to get some disease and they kind of start to peter out. So I would probably plant at least 2, 3, maybe even 4 successions of zinnias. So you always have fresh, top-notch blooms and you're just yanking the old ones out. And that just depends on how long your growing season is. Where I live in South Texas, I'm in zone 9B. Our last frost used to be March. Now it's like February, which we had this year. We had a freeze in January. That was the only time it froze. Hasn't frosted again. I don't know if it will because today's Valentine's Day. So it may not, we may not even get another frost. I've already started a ton of zinnia seeds inside so that I can transplant them out in a few weeks. But our growing season is pretty much from March to December. Like I said, this year, we didn't get a freeze till January. We did get our first frost about mid-December. And zinnias, the frost will kill the zinnias. Whereas some of the other flowers, like my sunflowers, could take a little bit of frost. The zinnias were toast. But look at how huge of a window that is. I mean, I grew them from March, had blooms in like late March and April, all the way through December. It's crazy. I mean, that's why I love this flower amongst so many others. So give some of these a try. Comment below if you have any questions. If you want to know about any more varieties. One last note I'll give you is think about your pricing when you're selling zinnias. I would say on average, across the country, your zinnia stems should be commanding at least $1 price wholesale, and then probably like $1.50 to $2 retail. Now that's going to vary depending on where you live. That's going to vary depending on who you're selling to. But in talking to a lot of other farmers around the country, that's kind of the general gist that I'm getting. And if you think about the cost of seed and growing these plants and how many blooms they put out, it is a really great deal if you can make even just $1 a stem, because you're going to get so many stems from one plant, usually at least like 12 to 15 before you're yanking it out. So 12 to 15 bucks from a seed that costs you a couple of cents, plus, labor and soil and all that. I think that's pretty dang good. But as always, gauge your pricing on what you need to charge to make money and be profitable, and what the other farmers and places in your area are selling them for, and grow some zinnias and make you some money this year. So thank you guys so much for tuning in, and I will see you in my next video.